dollars before I get into why it took me so long and to make a video, why this and that. I told y'all going into this game that the Fever was going to win. I was one of the people that did not expect them to lose this one. Go back and look. I told y'all they was going to win. I didn't think they was going to be down by 20 and come back and win. Kelsey Mitchell immediately erupted. But, guys, it took me a while to make this video because I'm trying to get my thoughts together and gather my emotions because my second favorite player on the team is done, and that is Sophie Cunningham.
The roar of the crowd faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. On the court, a star lay crumpled, and on the sidelines, a coach fought back tears. This wasn't just a basketball game, it was a brutal spectacle that ripped the veil off the WNBA, exposing a dark underbelly of reckless plays, shocking inaction, and a league teetering on the edge of a full-blown crisis. What happened to Sophie Cunningham, and why was Stephanie White left heartbroken on the sidelines while the league's very foundation began to crumble? Buckle up, because the truth about this WNBA drama goes far deeper than a single game, revealing a betrayal of the sport itself.
Oh my goodness, it took a Hercules-like effort from Kelsey Mitchell in the second half of the game to bail out Stephanie White. My God, it took overtime for the Indiana Fever to beat the worst team in the league, they're now 6-27. We're whipping the Indiana Fever's asses for 3 quarters.
The moment unfolded in a flash, yet it burned itself into the minds of every viewer. Sophie Cunningham, battling fiercely as always, was suddenly transformed from an elite athlete into the victim of what looked less like basketball and more like a WWE finishing move. Bria Hartley, with a history of what many call shenanigans, wasn't just defending. She seemingly launched herself a full-grown adult, sprawling across Sophie's leg like it was a hotel mattress. It was dirty, unbelievably dirty. 1 second, Sophie was battling for position. The next, she was clutching her knee, writhing in agony, as the court became a scene of immediate, horrifying realization. This wasn't an oops, I lost my balance moment. This was a reckless lunge, designed to leave her crumpled on the hardwood. If intent could scream, that collision was shouting at the top of its lungs, leaving absolutely no doubt about what had just transpired.
Dirty, dirty Bria, of course. It had to be a dirty, dirty Bria. I would really hate to see ya in a dark alley. Dirty Bria Hartley back at it again with her shenanigans, and this time around, she had her eyes set on one Sophie, the trophy Cunningham. Sophie, get well soon. Hopefully the MRI later today shows nothing too serious. Would love to see you back on the court.
And I want to talk about what Coach Stephanie White had to say after the game. During an interview, she said these players have something inside of them that you just can't teach. They bring it out in each other, and it allows us to get through these incredibly tough times. It gives us a chance. I'm so incredibly proud of them for continuing to believe. And that is something where I feel like the media or other players have said that the Fever have locker room issues, and we even heard that last season. It seems like this core group, since DeWanna Bonner has departed and she is no longer with the team, it seems like this group really has come together, and whether they are winning or losing, they do have a sense of togetherness.
The fallout for Sophie Cunningham was immediate and devastating. She went down hard, and the whispers quickly turned to a horrifying confirmation, a horrific lower leg injury that could sideline her for the entire season. Whether it's her knee, her patella, or an Achilles, the prognosis looks dire. For the Indiana Fever, this isn't just another injury, it's a catastrophic blow. Sophie has been the undeniable glue of this team, especially since Caitlin Clark's absence. She plays hard every single night. She's super tough. She makes no excuses. She's the kind of player who has truly held this team together. Imagine training your whole life to be in peak condition, only to end up used as a crash pad for a frustrated opponent who thinks the best defense is sacrificing their body onto your knee. Sophie didn't sign up for rugby. She certainly didn't audition for the role of human floor mat. Yet, here she is, nursing a potentially career-altering injury, while the instigator walks around pretending it's just business as usual.
Sophie Cunningham, oh man, I gotta tell you, this victory, it came with a big price. Bree Hartley, let me just start there because we've got Sophie Cunningham's sister and mother weighing in on the league. And Bria Hartley right here. This is Hartley right here coming in.
Over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls
and she crushes in on the knee of Sophie right here.
She went down hard.
And that was it.
That's like she tried
Sophie
to
was upset.
Right, and Hartley just kind of falls
and right there once again into the knee. They had to pull out towels to sort of cover the situation up. Bria Hartley getting absolutely destroyed by everybody.
Indiana Fever with a hell of a comeback versus the Connecticut Sun. We're going to get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the ugly. Prayers up for Sophie Cunningham. One half of the Blonde Bombers. Sophie, the trophy, is done for the season with a horrific lower leg injury. I don't know if it's her knee. I don't know if it's an Achilles. It looked bad. She's going to be done for the year. I don't know how much longer the Indiana Fever can continue to survive with these injuries. I just have to be honest. I got to be real. We lost Sydney Colston to a torn ACL. Ari McDonald broken bone in her foot. Caitlin Clark has played like 12 games all year or something like that. Dewana Bonner scammed us. I mean, it's been a complete shit show, to say the least. It's been a shit show.
Even as the team fought back from a daunting 20-point deficit to secure an overtime victory against the league's worst team, the emotional toll on coach Stephanie White was visibly immense. She was seen in tears, her pride in her team's Hercules-like effort from Kelsey Mitchell undeniable, but her anguish over Sophie's injury palpable. White later spoke about her players' unteachable spirit, their ability to get through incredibly tough times, and their continued belief. It's a statement that directly challenges the past whispers of locker room issues within the Fever. This core group, especially since Dana Bonner's departure, has clearly forged an unshakable bond. Yet, despite their valiant comeback and unified spirit, the shadow of Sophie's injury and the manner in which it occurred cast a long, dark pall over what should have been a moment of triumph.
Where Sophie Cunningham went out in the first half. And that was such a huge blow for the Indiana Fever because Sophie Cunningham has been somebody, she has been the glue of this team since Caitlin has been out. She is playing so incredibly well during the second half of this season. She plays hard every single night. She's super tough. She doesn't make excuses. Like, she is somebody who has really held this team together, and seeing her go down in the first half, like, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what it was at first when I saw her went down. So let's
save this team today. And I told y'all, go back to the video I posted last night. I told y'all Bria Hartley is a dirty player. She's no different than Dejanay Carrington. It just doesn't get as much publicity because the Connecticut Sun stink. Point blank, period. She's reckless. She injured Sophie Cunningham, and it is a travesty. Stephanie White, you better go and you need to be buying Kelsey Mitchell food all week. You need to send her a personal masseuse because she saved your job tonight. Yeah.
The immediate aftermath of the collision triggered a furious public outcry. This wasn't accidental. It was a reckless act, and the demand for justice was swift and clear. Hartley should be cutting checks for every single one of Sophie's medical bills, plus interest. But beyond the financial, there's the question of accountability within the league itself. In any sane professional league, you throw yourself on someone's leg and potentially jeopardize their career. You don't just walk away with a pat on the back. Suspension isn't optional, it's mandatory. And not some weak slap on the wrist suspension where you sit out a game and come back with fresh braids. No, it needs to be a true you're gone as long as Sophie is gone punishment. Eye for an eye, leg for a leg. If Sophie's watching games from the couch, then Hartley should be right there next to her, remote in hand, instead of suiting up and pretending like nothing happened. The irony is staggering. Sophie should be the headline for her gameplay, her shooting, her hustle. Instead, she's the headline because someone decided to use her as a crash landing. And all the while, the guilty party escapes with barely a bruise to her reputation.
Is driving in. Sophie Cunningham, or Kelsey Mitchell comes down. Sophie Cunningham overhelps, and Bria Hartley just kind of plows through her leg by the looks of things. So I need to see where she plows through. She kind of plows through the knee, and Sophie's holding like her patella. She's holding her patella. It does look like it's a patella. It's a patella injury. Normally, people will hold higher in their knee if it's a knee ligament injury.
So we were talking about a couple things when it came to Stephanie White, right? And one of the things were, does she really care about winning? Now, she looks very effusive, right, on the sideline, giving a lot of energy, looking like she cares, getting pissed off. It was times where Caitlin Clark even had to hold her back from yelling at the refs, right? So I would think she wants to win. I don't think she's trying to throw anything. Now, I can admit, when it comes to the end of the game, her rotations, her deciding who to play and who not to play, it does make her look a little bit enigmatic.
The blame doesn't stop at Bria Hartley. Perhaps the most shocking element of this entire debacle was the absolute failure of the officials. As Sophie lay screaming, the referees stood there like confused mall cops, watching a fight break out in the food court. Whistles in hand, stripes on their backs, yet somehow completely useless. They didn't blow the whistle, didn't issue a tech, didn't even flinch. You'd think they were extras hired to just stand around for ambiance, because when it came time to actually enforce rules, they went missing in action. And this negligence, this glaring lack of intervention, trickles directly down from the top. The WNBA commissioner owns this disaster. When the people in charge set the tone that accountability is optional, you get refs who treat blatant assaults like background noise. When the commissioner shrugs, the refs shrug. And when the refs shrug, Sophie gets carried off like a casualty in a sport that's supposed to be about athleticism, not survival. Fans don't pay to see officials turn their backs on chaos. They don't tune in to watch a commissioner spin excuses about unfortunate accidents.
Stephanie White's best friend, Carolyn Peck, been, and where has the Indiana Fever are a more dangerous team without Caitlin Clark conversation gone? How come once the Indiana Fever suddenly stop that 5-game win streak, lose 3 of their last 4, how come Carolyn Peck has suddenly stopped showing up on TV? How come that narrative of the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark? Why has that suddenly stopped?
To see her go down, to see, like, it's just emotional, guys. Just, I'm hella mad. Hartley need to be suspended on a major level completely. Probably she's at this point, she's more dirtier than Dejanay Carrington. Just the countless of dirty plays she has been doing over the last couple weeks has just been remarkable, and it's shocking that she's not suspended. Sophie Cunningham was getting attacked from the opening part of this game. Let me pull up something here real quick, guys, but I am hella mad, bro. Sophie did not deserve any of that happened to her today, and it is very, very unfortunate, man.
This incident and the league's response isn't just about one injury. It's a referendum on whether the WNBA even deserves to exist. When the product on the floor starts looking like organized mayhem instead of basketball, the calls to disband the whole thing don't sound so extreme anymore. Why keep up the charade? If games are going to be more injury reports than box scores, then what's the point of even keeping the lights on? Fans show up for basketball, not to watch Sophie Cunningham get flattened like she's part of a demolition derby. The WNBA has been begging for fans to take them seriously, but how can anyone take a league seriously when the refs treat dangerous collisions like they're watching paint dry? The irony is palpable. The very league trying to grow its audience is actively eroding its credibility with every moment of silence and every missed call. Remember the narrative that the Indiana Fever were more dangerous without Caitlin Clark? How quickly that narrative vanished once the win streak ended and the losses piled up, exposing a fragile foundation.
Understand what she's doing. I've been saying it for the past couple games where I'm like, man, I'm just not understanding why you're not playing this player, that player. What's up with the rotation? I find myself doing this a whole lot. So at some point, I have to say, yeah, she just has to get out of her own way when it comes to rotations, who you're playing, who we're getting the ball to, when the hot hands are going. These things are kind of confusing. Now, my biggest example would be Chloe Bibby. Now, I've been talking about Chloe Bibby for a good amount of games now, and the thing is, the Dallas game, yes, they lost, but she shot 100% from the 3.
Sophie Cunningham's injury wasn't natural. It was negligence wearing a referee's jersey and a commissioner's silence as its shield. What happened wasn't just a tough play, it was a profound betrayal of player safety and fan trust. The WNBA could have made this right with one strong statement, one bold punishment, one clear sign that the league values its players' health. Instead, we got silence and platitudes. The longer this drags out, the louder the calls become to scrap the whole operation. Because truly, why keep pretending this is a professional league if the professionalism is nowhere to be found? This isn't a league right now, it's a liability. And until that changes, don't be shocked when voices get louder about shutting the whole operation down. Because the second the spectacle becomes more about lawsuits and medical bills than actual basketball, the WNBA stops being a sport and turns into a tragic circus. The league stands at a critical crossroads. Will it finally enforce standards and protect its athletes, or will it simply collapse under the weight of its own incompetence?